Let's continue our discussion about the self by focusing on self-esteem. Our self-esteem is comprised of a variety of different pieces. It's not just good or bad, the way that most people talk about it. We, may feel, or it's comprised of a variety of different dimensions, such as our social self-image, the emotional self-image, academic self-image, physical self-image. And we may feel good about some areas and not so good about others. So for example, here, this person feels good about relationships and academics, not so good about about appearance. Now, if this matches that person's values, great. Okay. So if this is a person who really cares about social relationships and cares about school performance, but doesn't really care about how she looks, life is good, right? But imagine if this is a person who really values how she looks and doesn't particularly care about how she's doing in school. That discrepancy between values and achievement, between actual and ideal, can set up problems with self-esteem. Self-esteem is often maintained by a variety of different, or low self-esteem is often maintained by a variety of different kinds of problems, including problematic social relationships, some oversensitivity to rejection, as well as some real rejection. And so as we're talking about how to intervene here, we may want to look at ways of decreasing, challenging our thinking so that we're not as oversensitive to rejection, and improve our social skills so we're not engaging in things, not doing things that actually bring about rejection from others and that maintain our low self-esteem. So self-esteem has a variety of different kinds of consequences. It impacts identity. People with poor self-esteem have less clear, less complete, more contradictory self-identity. It impacts achievement. People are less confident of success, set lower goals, and persist for lower or for shorter times. Their moods tend to be problematic. They tend to be moodier, more anxious, more depressed. Not surprising if they're, experiencing a lot of problems in terms of not meeting their goals. They tend to run into more social problems. They tend to be more socially awkward, tend to find themselves questioning whether they're an okay person, and they're expecting rejection. And they tend to have some negative evaluation of self and expectations about the future. These tend to be correlational in nature. That doesn't mean that they're not true. It means that they're correlational and there may be other factors involved with this relationship. Narcissists tend to have more grandiose self-esteem. And so when they experience, particularly people with high narcissism, when they tend to experience a negative evaluation, they perceive that as threatening and engage, aggressively. While people who are less narcissistic don't take that threat as personally, and so are less likely to act out and be aggressive. Again, let's not focus on self-esteem because that impacts negatively, what happens in terms of identity, achievement, mood, social skills, and our beliefs about ourselves, and creates a number of different kinds of problems. So let's think about this difference between praise and encouragement. One of the ways that people tend to approach self-esteem is to say, well, I'm going to do what I can to increase their self-esteem, and I'm going to tell them that they're wonderful all the time. Such praise tends to stimulate rivalry and competition. It tends to focus on performance and leads that person feeling judged. It tends to interfere with persistence and fosters some real feelings that I'm only good if I do these things. What we want to do instead is focus on encouragement, which tends to stimulate cooperation, focus on effort. The person feels more accepted. They tend to make more specific attributions rather than global attributions. More, I'm good in these situations rather than I'm good or I'm bad, in these situations. It fosters persistence, and it fosters a less self-judgmental approach to the world and helps people to be independent and self-sufficient. So what can we do? We want to be thinking in terms of outcomes as part of a product of effort rather than a trait. So as we're going to talk in the next video, more about growth mindset rather than fixed mindset. We want to focus on others so that it doesn't, we're not focusing only on what's happening here. Altruism can really make a difference. Listening to others can help us put things into perspective. We want to challenge our thinking. Are we good only if? We want to avoid comparisons with others. And we want to be non-judgmental. And take care. Bye-bye.